let's get it rolling. So, Lord, so the first question, I mean, I'll start with you don't have a like really formal education in terms
Yes.
of architecture and design. So, what was a propelling factor which took you towards architecture, design, and interiors? I mean, course.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. First of all, journalism. I hadn't been in a school of journalism, and no colleagues I know in France have been through it. They all come from other fields. First of all, so I was in literature. I was fond of writing and reading, and first of all, journalism. It's for me a way to share things I discover, understand things, and make them enjoyable to other people. And it's about sharing. It's about writing first. And the funny thing is, I was going through some missions, and one of them was in TF1. It's the first canal of television in France. And
Right.
I was working as assistant to journalists in the news, in the midday news. And 2 days after I was in, we had the Concorde who crashed the second day of my moment of journalism in TF1.
Right.
Yes.
What an ideal start, really.
So it was just incredible because I saw everything, how it was going very fast and quick, how it was managed, this journalism
I mean,
there.
you can also call it chaotic in a manner.
Sorry,
It is kind of chaotic.
the kind of,
Chaotic.
yes, yes, but
Yeah.
not that much. They were really prepared, I must say. It's a big mechanic. So there were people there, people here, everybody knew at the seconds what to do. It was just incredible. So it was my first lesson of journalism there. But I was just here for a few weeks or months, I don't remember. So I took a trip after that to China. I was thinking at the time I should have make it to a specific school of journalism. So I was just struggling where, how, what can I get back to it really? I wanted to be journalist. Why didn't I make the school? Well, I went to the trip in China, and my neighbor on the way back of China was running a magazine.
Okay.
We talked for about 8 hours along the way, and she hired me.
All right. So it all started with that journey.
Yes.
All right. That is interesting.
What I must say, looking back to the past, it's the funny thing is that things happen if they're ready to happen, if you're ready to take the train. It's not the logic of life. It's not the logic of being too rational sometimes.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. So, okay,
Correct.
that's what I think. And then this is for journalism, how it worked. He started after a few years. I was on the field, obviously, and I was learning every day. I was a hard worker. I cannot say it was just a game and playful every day. It was really being confronted to the field every day and asking many questions. This is the advantage of journalism. You are to ask questions. So
Exactly.
you learn all the time. It's
Yeah.
just like being a student forever.
Obviously, I mean, curiosity is something that journalists live by. I mean, you just cannot be a journalist if you're not curious enough, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You won't be into the marathon for years if you're not. From the beginning, it doesn't work.
You can anyways have a stint or two, but if you wanna like play a long game in journalism, you need to be curious. You need to wake up being curious. That's the pill.
Better than have the best diploma in the world. Okay. And for architecture, it's because I was working here and there and meeting people. And someday, a woman I had known before, she asked me very simply, because I was a freelance at the time. She asked me, "Well, we need somebody to represent the magazine, and I know you are speaking 3 languages. I understand 4, actually, and so." Maybe you could represent the magazine in the fairs in Europe or whatever. So are you ready for that? And I say, okay, okay. But I'm just afraid I don't understand anything about what you're talking about. I'm not in architecture, I said to her. But she said to me, well, it's not architecture you're going to do for us. It's being a representative. And when you go at the fair, it's all specific. It's about a thematic. So let's say it's about all ceramics. It's about all lighting. It's about just one field at a time, and you meet everyone there. So you can ask whatever you want, you come back with material, and then you make your article. So that's the way it started. I just had the best school ever. It was there. It was being with people, asking questions, and having material afterwards, and studying documents. And best of all, for me, to be at a fair, that you can touch things, you can try them, you can say, well, it's hard. If it's a light is really too bright, you can feel things. So
Exactly.
it's a lot about feeling things and improving by this way. Well, it's very experimental. I don't know.
Okay, so Laura, what would you say about your love towards architecture? Because it'd be wrong to say if I put it like this that you don't love architecture. I mean, you didn't have that proximity initially, but how did that love develop?
Well, I'm not exactly, because my magazine, the magazine I'm working for now for full time, it's, let's say, 80% architecture, 20% or 55, 75% to 80 architecture pure. And my part, because I took little by little responsibilities, just the beginning by the products, going to the fairs, and little by little, and then having this responsibility of managing a few sections. So I'm not in architecture myself. I'm all about design, because I fell in love with design when I went to Salone di Milano. This is my best meeting forever. Every year, that's the meeting I cannot miss. It's Milano, Salone del Mobile, in
Okay.
April. So that's the best one in the world for me. But I don't know about Asian meetings. So maybe there are others elsewhere.
Kind of different.
But Europe, it's fantastic for Milano. And then I'm in charge of products, materials, components, the whole design, fairs, events, and everything. So the love, I think the love, it was a fulfilling of discovering, having the pleasure and the honor to be there first. This was really something interesting. When you're received as a journalist for a new launch of, I don't know, a sofa, a light, or whatever, you are really welcomed, and they want you to get out of here with the maximum ideas of what it is about, why they did that. And the backstage was just, for me, amazing. I'm really into humanities too. I mean, I love, part of my job was, at the beginning, while I was journalist, I was also helping people, thanks to theater, to develop their skills, to be in public and to get confidence, everything, because I have this other part of theater which was very important as a younger person. And so when you I'm kind of delaying, but
So that's all. I mean, just go ahead.
getting back
Conversation will happen.
it's really it's the passion of people tell me things, having stories, and then I had to take their stories to put them right down into something clear for others, and showing how and where and what's the novelty of it, what's the why they did that. And there were many stories, and that's what I'm fond of. And for interior design, the same. There's always a story about how you make an interior. Either it's a hotel, either it's home. It's always unique.
It's a story of uniting many mindsets. I as a person am different to you, but we live in a specific space, and how is design going to influence all of that? So that is a beauty of interiors.
And for theater, I think it was a big thing for me, because I already had an eye of what is a scenography, where things are useless or important to be. And so I really went into AMC, the magazine I'm working for now, because it's really pure, it's rigorous, and things have to be useful and be there for the reason. And it's not like a decoration and you got many accessories. No, it's really,
Beyond aesthetics.
yes, there is aesthetics, but it's not exactly. It's the way people are going to move in it and live in it and have peace and have a moment of animation, everything. You have to, it's like a movie in a way for me. But I think about a place, it's not a static place. It can't be.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was really insightful. I mean, I'm being very honest, it was very insightful. We'll move on with the AMC thing, the magazine thing. So, how does redefining come into play? I mean, redefining is something that a lot of magazines have to go through. So, when it comes to ideas and approaches, there's a constant shift in terms of media landscape and the perception of people towards magazines. So, how is that redefining coming into play?
It's a nice question, but for me, it's you're going to be surprised because we are in a magazine. We consider ourselves craftsmen. So we still do it really the old way, old school. So we have we don't move that much because we have a big magazine. It's about pages a month. So it's full of details of technical information. You got pictures, but really nothing is really a hazard. So, and for all the sections we have to be really clear also for the reader where he is. So we don't move that much in the print. I think around maybe every 5 or 7 years we move the magazine really.
Yeah.
We have little change but really mainly they have to know where they are at once. We are not to confuse the reader because it's too hard to read because it's really intense to read. My part I consider is the fun part because the scale is not architecture, is more design and interiors. So
Yeah.
it's playful also, but really I must say we don't move it that much. But the only thing is we can have a more fluent and a very free expression on the web.
Okay.
The web is more the place we can play, try, and and have a more direct relationship with the public.
Okay, that is great. I mean, it's a liberal approach, kind of, which is good. I mean, it works anyways. For AMC, it's working. As far as it's working, it's just great. Yeah. So the next question is about influence of advertisers in magazine. Okay, so you look at the interest of advertisers in publishing. What would you term as the acceptable amount of influence that you can let in?
Okay, so about the field we are in, it's a small world. Okay, building, architecture, design, there are not so many people involved in the world. I mean, it really. So it happened that we meet and re-meet and re-meet regularly in a way, So the thing is, always keep the distance first, because it's not because you have friends in a place that you always have to talk about them. Never. It's truly not that way. Specifically in France, we have a big deontology chart. We have to sign. It's like a little book. We have to sign it. When we go for journalism, we have a pact. So we agreed to all these points, and we don't mix advertisement with writing. Never.
All right, all right.
So
We've
yeah, sometimes
we've got pillars of journalism for with us. I mean, there are 8 pillars of journalism that we talk about.
it's like a frame that protect everyone. The reader has real information, and the manufacturer is not just served with a false publicity. I mean, it's really a balance. Manufacturer, I notice, are proud to be in an article, but
Yeah.
they're not paying for it, and that's important. So it's you have to keep really separate the world.
Mhm.
But it's true. You meet the people, and well, what I do is I always control my information, always investigate, always ask other people about this or there. So I don't just receive the discourse, and I sometimes I have to explain to people why they won't be in the magazine. They don't
Exactly.
fit. It's
Yeah.
not a problem. And then I counsel them where they could be really easily and more rationally, because it's not our line of editing. So what I deal with is first of all, when I go to a fair or an event, I try to go to many events, obviously, because that's the only way to learn and to be there and to understand and to know.
And
But
you being curious. That's
yeah,
also
but yes, I pick them up before. I mean, because it's probably I'm just back from Bologna. I was in a fair about ceramics. I knew I was going. I know the place. It is wonderful, and Italian are fantastic about ceramics, Spanish too, though, but specifically Italian because we were in Italy. There were many, but I know this fair, I will find things for me. So I know I will have an article afterwards, but nobody can tell me, oh, talk about me. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So the problem sometimes I have to explain I'm coming. Sometimes I don't know where I'm going. So I say very clearly, if I don't know the host, please understand something as a journalist. Maybe there will be something, maybe not. If you feel free to invite me or not, because this is the deal. Because many, I think there is a frontier between bloggers, YouTubers, and all new branch of information, which some are like journalists. I think they have this kind of the same job, and many others are just advertisers.
Exactly.
And so it's kind of it's a frontier that it has to be kept. And I'm lucky, I must say, because I work full time for this AMC magazine, which is 53 years old or 54, I don't remember, and so fully respected in France. So I don't have a problem. I don't, I'm not. Oh, please, we don't have no advertising. Do something. Talk about this, and no, I don't have to.
All
So
right.
the day, if there is a day it changes in that way, I would just quit and change my job. I won't. It won't be fun.
Yeah, and about like the staircase, I'll put it in terms of it being a staircase. We've already climbed that staircase. We've had 50 years of our history. We have our legacy.
Mhm.
It's probably not a priority for us to like go behind these things. Content is what matters to us most, and I think this is what your motto is too, right?
What was, excuse me, the question?
No, it's not a question. It was just
Okay, the status.
yeah,
I'm just wondering if you're
yeah. So the next question is how. What are some challenges that you experience in terms of dealing with designers and architects?
okay. Alors, for this question, it's nice because designers are players, are fantastic. Enthusiasm, you find enthusiasm, energy, pleasure. They are gamer, player. They are really full of energy. It's really giving me a lot. So they're easy in a way. Some, like in any field in the world, some of them are like a little ego to we have to go with. But I haven't found really it as a problem because I've got a great sense of humor. Logically, it doesn't go where I don't want to go. So this is my luck too.
Once Alfred Hitchcock said that if you put 10 directors in a room and you just make them sit for an hour, they'll probably kill themselves. Like each of them will probably go behind killing themselves. So that's the ego that these
If you have only shifts, you have no more manufacture falling down. But and the architects are really different people because they have to struggle more about with the responsibility of human life because you build a 10 level building, you can go to prison afterwards, so you really have to know what you're doing. And it's really struggling and with financial things because they need banks, they need really, so it's different people because they have a bigger thing on the shoulders, I said.
different more things at stake, let's say.
And well, yeah, it's different people, but the only really difficult thing, and so you have to be good at it. It's like you did. I don't know how you convinced me to take the time, catch the people.
Yeah.
The people. It was charming the way you invited me. So, and I never have to talk about that. So it was nice for me. I have to thank you for that, to go back to the experience and try to have an eye over it to analyze. It's really interesting.
I mean, it's really interesting to go behind the work that you've done. I mean, I curated the questionnaire and I just wanted to get in your head anyways.
Yeah.
So another thing, how has your job influenced you creatively?
How was the?
How
Sorry.
has your job influenced you creatively? I mean, the work that you do.
Ah, yes. Well, first, creative personality. I'm more chaotic or creative than absolute organizer, for example. So it's part of my nature to be free, to be creative. And the thing is, well, I would say all the other way, because I'm usually so passionate in what I'm doing in my work. I share it at home, and I try to have some bridges between them. And I also have one of my best friends in as colleagues too. So it's like more the work is everywhere, and I don't know if it's creative or yes, it always keep me on the know, on the move. So this is nice because see, it trained me to see things before they happen. Because when you see sometime a real concept, a novelty of usage of a chair, you there, you see it, and you can tell almost in 5 years it's going to be to the home of the people.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the vision.
yes, that's the very yes, that's what I think really important.
We say that being chaotic, it broods creativity.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
architects is really a mastering of. They are like a chef d'orchestre,
yeah,
music director. Yeah.
organized chaos.
Yeah. But like chaos at the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure. So, Laura, so a lot of pitches would be coming your way. Now, this is around pitches. So, what is your idea of a really decent pitch? You might as well ignore a lot of pitches, but what is that factor which just pulls you? I must go ahead with this thing.
What we find interesting enough to keep in the magazine and to say that's a subject.
Correct.
How
Correct.
to pick a subject? Is that it? Okay. Well, we are all very nomadic in the editing team. So we go to many appointments. So architecture, museums, design, many things, many ways. And so we gather really regularly. We are all together physically, I insist. We see each other Monday for 2 hours every Monday. We don't take an appointment. We're there together at the office. And this is really important to us because we talk about all the subjects
Mhm.
and we have to defend our points. So
So,
if we're not agree, we don't agree. So we have to talk about it. And so already we are making the magazine there. So sometimes we have to admit, no, it's not the time, or it's not the right subject right now. Or but it's very interesting because we're still like the old way. We are still having arguments if needed, you know. So and if we want to keep it, it's for me. I always say to people when they're not taken, we didn't we chose not to take the subject and to publish it.
yeah.
Well, we are talking to architects. They are specialized. They know a lot already. So we have to show them what is different, what is a twist in doing things. Not nice and well done and classic. No, no, we can't do that. We have to be in forward and give them solutions for technical impossibilities, for example. So we try really to find out what's really going and for the future, not to be just not sustainable and full of money and for nothing. I mean, we
Exactly.
have to be very bright, but we are together as a team. So that's the way it works.
And a hunger in belly. And yeah, responsibility is one thing. I mean, you guys have responsibility.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about something that is breaking afterwards. I mean,
Yeah,
I just bought this because I saw it in the magazine. It doesn't work. I mean, or I went to this museum. It was it was supposed to be nice and it was ugly every corner. I mean, we have responsibility. That's true.
yeah. So among the similar lines, I mean, how do you perceive the emergence of various forms of content on social media? Okay, so this is
Okay.
about social media. And how does it impact the content that we guys push? How does it impact the content?
Well, we are not. Well, I've got a colleague which she's really much more in the web part, and she's really there's something that works usually because we talk a lot, and she really I don't know the term in English. She posts some questions like appeal to arguments. So what do you think of chap, chap, chap? And then there's one answer from an architect and the others are reacting. And this is something, to make people in the know interact also about a subject which is kind of touchy or going to be in politics or this works, for example, on social media a lot, because we are on the web, show these polemic subjects, and
Yeah.
try to find what are the views today about it. This is something that works, but we are really so niche.
Mhm.
It's a small market we're in, so we're not. We are distributed. The magazine is distributed in libraries, not in libraries, in bookshops,
Yeah, bookshops, correct.
like the other magazines usually. So it's kind of artistic book, and then with the social media, we tend to make relation with everyday life, or sometimes talk about things that were not scheduled, because we are monthly edited, so we can't talk about everything. We have well,
About trends, because trends are something, I mean, they change in a week, they change in a day. So can't really go behind trends, but then you guys get an idea about social media and how things are functioning, right? Because it's money in the end. And I mean, it
we
is
talk, well, we're kind of social media. I mean, it's another world.
exactly
We have a part of it, but we have a part on it, but it's not our fundamentals, because people are affectionate to the magazine. They got it in the agencies, in the studios. When you go to an architect in France, usually they have a collection
correct, correct.
of AMC, because it's like a useful book
I
for
mean,
practice.
it's essential and it's esteemed at the same time. And it's esteemed because of the times that it has been through. It's been almost 50 years. So esteem is something it
Yes,
has. Yeah.
because when you, for example, you got a subject, but you always have a subject you can find in one of the numbers. You open it and you have, let's say, 5 examples of that type of building.
Correct.
So you know who did it before, and how to manage them, and then it helps you think. It helps you conceive. That's why we are doing it, to help people, have maybe solutions when they're stuck in some quotidianities, everyday life.
So that is one thing. Lord, what it was very insightful, this one. So moving ahead, what is your idea of a good pitch? So let's say I want my article published. So how do I pitch? How do I approach you?
To have an article published.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, first, I think I have to. Yeah, it was. Well, you have to get to the point right away, not going here and there, and not this. Not. You have to get straight to the point and be convinced of what you are to talk about. And when you address something to a magazine, you have to know the magazine. Many people, they don't know nothing about it, and we receive a big letters with things that had nothing to do with us.
correct.
So you have to be aware where you are, who you're talking to, and having convinced of a real subject. And you have, after, if usually it works with people who know people who know people, it's going, like connections.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you meet there, you were at the same appointment, you meet there, and then okay, and so you will take time to listen. Okay, for me, a pitch needs to be really straight.
So moving ahead, Lord, how has the progression of your career been? And what endeavors are still in your sight to achieve? And I expect a lot.
Well, I thought before, I thought I was younger. Let's say 10 years ago, I would have said to you, oh, I was so lucky. I wanted to go, I wanted to be journalist. I went to China. I became a journalist. I wanted to, I would have thought like I'm interested in space. Oh, and I work for a magazine in space. Well, it was space involved, but it's not true. I mean, it's just I've been a hard worker, passionate, and trying to do the best of everything I had. And so, and the languages helped too, of course. But so it's just a logic afterwards. But I'm not the kind of person who plans, I'm going to be there in 3 years and then you do that and be there. I'm incapable of that. So,
I mean, it just things tend to look beautiful. I mean, in hindsight, things are better. But then, if you take it one day at a time, you keep working hard. And I've seen you working hard. I mean, I've seen the initiatives that you've taken. That
mhm.
is that is something really inspiring. I mean, when I was preparing a questionnaire for you, I was inspired. I won't lie, I was inspired. So, no,
It's unusual from outside. It's very logical to me.
exactly.
You know? Don't be afraid of being bizarre, weird, or I don't know.
That is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. And that's the best thing about a conversation that we're having right now. I mean, it's not a typical conversation. I mean, it's kind of offbeat, and I'm loving it really, seriously.
Okay.
So moving ahead, I mean, this is a kind of different question. How has your off the table life shaped your professional life?
I think I was mixing up the two because the two are really, really seriously intricate.
Yeah.
I would say the other way, maybe it's an error, but that's the way I managed. I was so full of work that my job was so interesting and making me think all the time. So when I went to have a family, the family fit in the job. You know, it's kind of now because I'm more peaceful, I'm more mature. I don't know what it's about. Maybe it's because I'm in my 50s now. But so I think the balance is more acceptable because I made some choices by the past who were too much work and not enough life. So this is a counsel I would give to a young going in the field. Well, still think of yourself and have a balance, equilibrium with moments for you.
I'd like you to expand on it with my next question, which is what would be your advice to young professionals who are looking to take a plunge into writing and editing? And what does the approach need to be, and what are the things to be wary of?
Okay, my first approach is to find and be yourself because you can't play too long somebody else. So the first thing would be this: go to things you're really interested in.
Don't do things you're really interested in.
Yeah, only do things when you are interested in the subjects. Don't go in farming if you're interested in offices. Don't go to, I mean, be trust. You can trust yourself in life and listen to some people, connections, and this helps you grow too. And don't feel bad if you're not exactly where you want right now because you're working on it. So, but always be honest because this is important. And for being journalist, to go into journalism because you have this very internal moral barrier with giving information, giving a little emotion in it because you're a human being, not too much because you need to keep the distance. So you have to learn about this mature look at events. And please do the opposite they say you. Don't write for Google, write for people.
Right, all right.
Okay? Because Google will give you click,
Mhm.
people will be your readers.
Exactly. I mean, that is what matters because in the long term, it's not going to matter. A click or two, thousands of clicks won't really matter. What matters is people who've read your story. Right. So that was all from our end. You had a good time. I certainly did.
Thank you. Yes, I did because it was so unusual for me to talk about me. I always ask questions.
So on this note, I'd like to say goodbye to you.